Hey crafty babes, Andrea here. We are going to work on a little page about 10 on 10 from April. If you don't know, 10 on 10 is just a photo documenting challenge. Way back in the day, like when Instagram first started, there used to be a challenge called 12 on 12 where you took 12 photos on the 12th of every month. And that was really fun. I did a lot of those. A couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago, Shannon Domkowski revamped that challenge to be a 10 on 10, which is super fun. I like the less photos, and it's a fun one. So in April, I took 10 photos, and I like to do my 10 on 10 documenting in my 6x8 album. This is a page that is actually 7 by 9.5, so that it fits really nicely inside of that 6x8 album. And I realize that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but the 6x8 albums are actually made a little bit larger so that it fits 6x8. Page protectors with room, because they need room for the seams and the edges and the holes and all of that. So anyway, back to this layout. What I love to do is take my 3x4 cards, go through them, and find patterns and cards with words on them or cards with icons or whatever, like you see here. And then I just trim them all down to this one smaller size that gets me to be able to fit everything in this grid situation. I don't know the exact size of these photos. I do have a template that I use personally. They are somewhere around 2.5 by like 2 or 1 and 7.75, something like that. Not 100% sure. If I can find the actual dimensions, I'll leave them in the description. But we are auditioning a couple of stamps here, trying to just figure out what it is I want to say, how I want to lay things out. I'm pretty settled on where all the papers are, like where the cards and the photos work together. I'm pretty settled there. And now is like where I get to figure out what I want to do for the titling, if I want to have a title in the top section, or if I want the month to kind of sit and live on one of the cards. But the cards that I have chosen are a little bit on the busy side, like a few of them already have sentiments on them or words or whatever. So I'm a little bit limited on areas to journal. So I just want to make sure that I give myself enough, room for all the things I want to make room for. So yeah, I'm basically settled. So we're gonna glue all of the cards and photos down. I eyeball when it comes to getting these things all laid out. I try to start with the outside corners so that I have 2 areas to like line things up with, and then I go and I do the photo or card above it, and then I do the photo or card next to it, so that then I can try to keep everything as straight as possible going from outside to inside, if that makes sense. And I have done my typical formula of like trying to make sure that the colors are all spread out evenly. Since sometimes I do like to group colors together, but usually on spreads like this where there's just a lot of colors that I'm working with, I do like to just spread the color out as much as possible and spread the balance and contrast out as much as possible as well. I'm sure if you've watched one video of mine, you've heard me talk about that it's really important to make sure that your lights and darks are spread out evenly, to make sure that things don't feel too heavy or too light in certain areas. Now I do love, using a variety of, contrasting colors and stuff. So it's really just the fun part for me is just spreading that color around and trying to figure out what colors go best where. And that's what we're doing here a little bit, is using a couple of colors up in the top right to make a little bit of a collage. I've got this acrylic April from Color Cast Designs, and I'm making a cute little collage up there with some stamping, and I love how it's turning out. Something I actually thought about doing, and I might do next time, is potentially on the right side, maybe shifting all of the photos up to the top and having the edge be at the top, and then giving myself that bottom section to balance out the page, and maybe, you know, having like a little cluster down there at the bottom so that it would be top left open area and bottom right open area, if if you can kind of roll with what I'm putting down here. That might be something that I would consider next time, but I just wasn't very comfortable doing that this time. So I am trying to just kind of figure out what I want to do on the top right, or I'm sorry, the top left. But while I sit there with that tag up there, I've got some other ideas that I want to just get executed and see how they work. Sometimes I will just add little things here and there to just let them live there. It's an interview process that I really, really enjoy, because if I can look at it there for a while and I enjoy it being there and it doesn't bother me, and I get another idea of like, oh, I can add this to it, that is super helpful. But I have decided that these green home stickers are going to go perfectly on that green pattern card. So I'm committing to that. And sometimes I leave things unadhered because I'm going to use some sort of stitching or like staples or something that I want to make sure I'm not stapling through the entire page. And so that's why I did that there. Yep, just trying to figure out how to use this tag. It was very big, and because I'm working with smaller photos, I didn't want to overwhelm. I try to keep my elements a little bit, to scale. I don't like necessarily using too much of a competing size situation when I'm working in a smaller format. There are things like we'll see that I use that are quite bold, but it doesn't necessarily overpower what the other things that are going on here. So that's a bonus. I love these tile stickers and these little tiny alpha stickers. So I'm numbering each of these photos just to have some consistency throughout both of the pages. Because, of all of the different colors that are being represented here, it is just something I like to do, whether it's me stamping on each photo, like with a number, or using something like this. I just like to have that little bit of consistency so that something draws your eye from, left to right or from page to page. And I just feel like that works out really well. I'm just trying out the color here to see if it's the right hue, right tone, right color. And I nailed it. Yeah, I nailed it with that color choice first time out. I love when that happens, because sometimes the colors fade on the outside of my oxides. So the color that it actually is ends up being a little bit different than what I have in my mind. And so I always like to try out that color. I just stamp it on either the back of something or a scrap piece of paper just to make sure that it is the right tone. Cause like with how Tim Holtz does the things, there's a lot of colors in one, like blue. There's a lot of different blues, and they're so similar, but they're so different. So just making sure that I have the right one is very important to me. So this is that bold part I was talking about, where I am using something that's just a little large, bold, but it's not. It's to scale. It doesn't feel, like it doesn't belong there. And so feel free to throw something punchy at your pages. Nothing wrong with that. And then I love to take the little extra pieces of space that I, give myself underneath these photos, and I journal just a little bit about what the photo is. That way I don't have to write a big long story or make a bullet list of things. I just purposefully give myself that space so that I know that I can just jot down little things about whatever that photo is. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this video today. And I hope that y'all are having a great day and that you make time and space for your craftiness. And we will talk soon. Bye, guys.